Good morning, students. Dear students, we are in yesterday's class. We have learned something about ancient civilizations of India. So today we are going to continue that lesson. Okay. We are in the previous classes under the unit of ancient civilizations of India, where we learned that the initial civilizations of India, like Harappan civilization and its several sites. So, how our Indian history go back to the 4600 years, that related several aspects learnt under the previous classes. After the completion of those aspects, another ancient civilizations are there. So many ancient civilizations make India to be proud. So among them, Harappan civilization is one, and another one is the Vedic civilization, or what we call the Vedic age. The Vedic age. Or it has to be considered as Vedic civilization. Dear students, you are all very familiar with the Vedas, isn't it? Simply you speak something about four Vedas. They are Rig Vedas, Sama Vedas, Yajur Vedas, Atharva Vedas, like that. See, these are the Vedas, what we called as one civilization, where the people live together and they create a beautiful culture and runs their life strategies, their beautiful life. Such kind of one civilization, what we call Vedic age of civilization. So today we are going to discussing something about the Vedic age and its Vedas and its four Vedas and their their social Rigveda period. Rigveda period. Rigveda period and its social system and its social system social system. See, these are all the things that today we are going to discuss it in this class. So dear students, in our India, completely land of differ, it's vary from each and everything, whether we can talk about language or we talk about food, color, race, languages, traditions, culture. See, each and everything will be different from one place to another place. Such differable land we can see in this world, one and only India. Even though if we all feel so many differences, even though proudly we can say that we are all Indians. That is what we call unity in diversity. See, such differences we can see not only nowadays, it's from back. Its differences originated by so many years back. So that the Vedic age also one type of civilized society. Especially Aryans complied the Vedas. Who complied the Vedas? Aryans. Aryans complied the Vedas. Aryans complied the Vedas. Are you heard my voice? Aryans. They were going to comply the Vedas. Aryans complied the Vedas. Aryans belonged to the early Indo-European tribe. They were belongs to early Indo-European tribe. Indo-European tribe of India. They were belongs to Indo-European tribe in early. They were lived of southern Russia, Ural mountain slopes. They were from southern Russia. They were from southern Russia and Ural mountains. Where the people live called Aryans. They are many of the groups of this tribe through Central Asia came to Iran plateau. Many of the group of the people came to the Iran plateau. They were moved to Iran plateau from southern Russia, Ural mountain slopes. So later on, what happens? And they were migrated to Punjab area via Afghanistan. They were migrated to Punjab region via Afghanistan. So in this way, Aryans entering into the India's land. See, dear students, are you understand something about Aryans? Aryans are basically it belongs to Indo-European tribes. They were lived in the groups in the part of southern Russia, especially lived over mountain slopes, and they moved to Iran plateau. Through that, they were migrated to Punjab region via Afghanistan land or Afghanistan country. In this way, Aryans entering into the India, and they were compliant the Vedas. So later on, our well-known historian, according to him, his name B.K. Ghosh. B.K. Ghosh. So he was a famous historian. And a philosopher. According to him, and according to in his book called History and Culture. History and Culture of the Indian people. History and culture of Indian people. published that book by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. That Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has published the book of B.K. Ghosh, History and Culture of Indian People. In that book, according to historian B.K. Ghosh, that the culture built these people is understood based on the Vedas. According to him, the culture built these people is understood based on the Vedas and is called as Vedic culture. And is called as Vedic culture. What is the Vedic culture? According to B.K. Ghosh, the author of the book History and Culture of Indian People, where he was discussing the Vedic culture. According to him, where the people followed by the Vedas and Vedic type of cultures. So that people, what we call Vedic cultured people. It means they are completely people is understood based on Vedas. That people completely understood based on the Vedas. That's why therefore they are called as Vedic cultured people. And later on, the Vedic period is identified as the period between 1500 BC to 700 BC. 1500 BCE to 700 BCE. See, this was the period where we identified that Vedic period. What we call? This is what we call Vedic period. So, Vedic period begins from 1500 BCE to 700 BCE. That was the period of Vedic age. This age is divided into two periods. This age, what we call the age 1500 BCE to 700 BCE. Again, this age divided into two periods. One period what we call Rigvedic period or beginning of Vedas period. Rigvedic period. Rigvedic period, or it has the another name, that is the beginning Vedas period. Beginning Vedas period or Rigvedic period. And another part of the period what we called, that is post Rigvedic period. Post Rigvedic period. Rigvedic period. See, that two ages we can observe by the Vedic age. It means, dear students, please observe this. The Vedic age can be divided into two different ages. The first age, what we call Rigvedic period of age, and another one is post-Rigvedic age. See, this period between what period? Rigvedic period between 1500 BC to 1000 BCE. This is 1000 BCE to 1000 BCE. This was the period of the Rigveda's culture time. And post-Rigvedic period. The post-Rigvedic period is considered up to 1000 BCE to 700 BCE. 1000 BCE to 700 BCE. This age can be divided into two types of ages. One from 1500 to 1000 BCE, up to 1000 BCE, that period of time what we call Rigvedic period of time. And in the same way 1000 BCE to 700 BCE, that between the period what we call post-Rigvedic period. So in this way we can divide it into Vedic age into two parts or two periods. So later on, Vedas were in the oral form at the beginning, and it emerged into written form with a lot of changes. Initially, Vedas were in the oral form. Vedas in the oral form initially. In the later part of the Vedas, it changes as a written form. Written form with lot of changes. Lot of changes happen. Dear students, please understand this one. Vedas, in the initial time, all Vedas were in the form of oral. Later, Vedas converted as written form. Converted as written form with lot of changes. This is what we call Vedic age, and it's a different kinds. So later on, we learn something about four Vedas. Four Vedas. Dear students, already you know that, once again I am repeating to you, there are four Vedas in our history. One is Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. There are four different Vedas for this. First one is Rig Veda. Next one is Samaveda. Samaveda. Rigveda, Samaveda and Yajurveda. Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda. See, these are all the four different types of Vedas. Dear students, are you understanding about these things? There are four different types of Vedas or appear. Among them, number one is Rigveda, number second is Samaveda, third one is Yajurveda, and fourth one is Atharva Veda. See, Vedas are mainly compilation of nature. Vedas are mainly compilation of nature worships. It belongs to nature worships and compilations of natures. In nature worship, yoga, yagna and process of yagas and black magic, these also called as Samhite. These are called as Samhite. Samhite. Samhite means Vedas are mainly compiled of worship of nature, black magic, process of yaga, all those things what we call as Samhite. It included process of yaga and worship of nature and black magic, that considered as or called as Samhite. Are you understand, dear students? Samhita as a text. Samhita as a text. It has a text that called Brahmana. Brahmana. Samhita has a text. The text has called as Brahmana. And a Brahmana that explains the various ways of performing rituals. Various forms of performing of rituals. The Brahmana express that how to perform the rituals. That shows the Brahmana. And every Brahmana as an Aryanka. Every Brahmana as an Aryanka. Every Brahmana as an Aryanka. What the Aryanka means? Aryanka and Upanishad. Every Brahmana included Aryanka and Upanishads. Upanishads. Both. And Upanishads and Aryanka. Aryankas have necessary supersensory instructions hermits who are living in the forest. Aryankas are necessary supersensory instructions. Necessary supersensory instructions for hermits who were lived in the forest. That is what we call as Aryankas. Aryankas means necessary and supersensory instructions that are followed by the hermits who were lived in the forest. That is we called as Aryankas. And Upanishads are the reflective discourses on philosophy. Reflective discourses of philosophy. Reflective discourses of philosophy. That is what we call Upanishad. Upanishads. See the difference between Aryanka and Upanishads. Aryankas what we call the necessary and supersensory instructions for hermits who were lived in the forest. And Upanishads are reflective discourses of philosophy. That is what we call Upanishads. Are you understand, dear students, the difference between Upanishads and Aryankas? Yes. And Upanishads are the evidence of intellectual maturity of Indians during Vedas period. Dear students, please note this. Upanishads are the evidences that intellectual maturity of Indians during the Veda period. See, such kind of intellectual peoples who were lived during the period of Vedic age. That's why it was a big evidence of our ancient people's intellectual capacity. Are you understand, my dear students? So after all those things, now we move to the Rig Veda period. Now we move to Rig Veda period. Rig Veda period. What it means? Rig is the first among all the Vedas. Rig Veda is the first Veda among the all Vedas. The language is used, the geographical and social situations depicted in it justifies this. Rig Veda has 1028 slokas. Rig Veda included 1028 slokas. Here slokas is nothing but prayers. So it was the first Veda. First Veda among all the Vedas. 1028 slokas are prayers included in Rig Veda period. See, dear students, all the slokas are like prayer songs. They are grouped under 10 mandalas. All 1028 slokas grouped under 10 mandalas. That 10 mandalas included 1028 slokas. And all these suktas or slokas were not completed in a single time. Historians find that there was a gap of 500 years between the initial text, the last text of the Rig Veda. Historians are opined that it takes more than 500 years. 500 years it takes. The initial suktas or slokas begins and the end of the slokas or suktas of Rigvedic period which complete, it takes 500 years. These are all the opinion of historians. And the language used in Rig Veda belongs to Indo-European family of language. Indo-European family of language. Indo-European family of language. That type of language used by the Rigvedic period of people. Are you understand, dear students? Indo-European family language they can use in those periods. The geographically discussed in Rig Veda extends from Afghanistan, Hindu Kush mountain to Doab of Ganga and Yamuna rivers. It means that period geographically considered as Afghanistan's Hindu Kush mountain. Geographical range of Rigvedic period. Afghanistan's Hindu Kush mountain. Hindu Kush mountain to Doab region. Doab region. It means huge geographical area it has been covered. Here Doab means Ganga and Yamuna rivers. Between two rivers. The western part of Uttar Pradesh. And nowadays we observe that the western part of the present Uttar Pradesh state. And from Kashmir to Sindh in northern boundaries. Kashmir to Sindh. Kashmir to Sindh in northern part of the boundaries. See, this is what we called as geographical area covered of Rigvedic period of civilization. to Doab region, Ganga and Sindhu rivers, and it means Doab place. That place today comes in Uttar Pradesh, western part of the state. Okay, and in northern Kashmir to Sindhu. See, this was a huge area covered Rigvedic period of civilized people. And later on, their social system. Dear students, please observe all those things. Till now, we are discussing something about the Vedic age. Under that, we know something about 4 different Vedas: Rig Vedas, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda. And we also know something about Aryans. Who are the Aryans? Aryans belong to Indo-European tribe who complied the Vedas. They were lived in southern Russia, Ural mountain slopes, and they can move to Iran plateau and later on migrated to Punjab region via Afghanistan. According to a famous historian, vghs, in his book History and Culture of Indian People, where he has discussed something about Vedic culture. Those are the people who are follows purely depending upon the Vedas. That people culture, what we call Vedic culture. That Vedic period comes between the years of 1000 BCE, 1500 BCE to 700 BCE. That huge period we can divide it into 2 periods. One period we call it as Rigvedic period. Another one is called as post-Rigvedic period. Rigvedic period consists 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE. And post-Rigvedic period consists 1000 BCE to 700 BCE. So later on we know something about Samhitas, the beginning Vedas. All Vedas are initially in the oral form. Later it has converted as written form from many changes. And Samhita has a text of Brahmana. Brahmana consists in Aryanka and Upanishads. Aryanka means necessary and supersensory instructions for hermits who were lived in the forest. And what about Upanishads? Upanishad is reflective discourses of philosophy. That is what we call Upanishads. And later on we know something about Rigvedic period. That was the period consists 1028 suktas or slokas or prayer songs. This was the first Veda of Vedic age. And all 1028 slokas consist 10 mandalas. According to historians, Rigvedic period consists more than 500 years. It takes to created such kinds of slokas. The Rigvedic period of language belongs to Indo-European family of language. And the Rigvedic period of geographical area consists Afghanistan, Hindu Kush mountain valley to Doab region of our Uttar Pradesh, Sindhu and Ganga rivers. And in northern part where consists extend up to Kashmir to Sindhu region. See, these are all the several aspects that today we are discussing. Dear students, are you understand all those things? If you have any doubts, please ask to me. You have any doubts? You have any doubts? Please ask to me. See, dear students, today we are discussing all those things. And what about their social system? Whose social system? Rigvedic period of social system. All the time of their entry into India, there were three communities among Aryans. Why? Aristocracy, priestly classes, and common people. When Aryans, whenever they enter into India, were three communities among Aryans. They are aristocracy, priestly classes, and common people. Caste consciousness had not yet emerged. We get the picture of an emerging social system in the Purusha Sukta. In that Purusha Sukta, where we can observe that their consciousness and emerging of social system that appears in Purusha Sukta appears in the 10th mandala of Rigveda, probably during 1000 BC. 10th mandala of Rigveda. According to this, the gods created Adipurusha. According to 10th mandala. According to 10th mandala of Rigveda, 1000 BCE, where we see that the God created Adipurusha. God created Adipurusha. That Adipurusha, whose mouth became Brahmanas, shoulders became Kshatriyas, and things became thighs became Vaishyas, and Shudras were born in his feet. Thus, an effort was made to provide divine and mythological background to the birth of caste. There is no mention of the word Varna here. In the later Vedas, the word Varna appears. The first three Varnas performed the roles in rituals, administration, and business, and had the right for property. For purely belongs to three Varnas, first three Varnas. The fourth Varna, Shudras, comes during the last stage of the Rigveda. The local tribal groups Dasyu, Pani, and Dasa from this Shudra Varna. Aryans after defeating the local tribes Dasa and Dasyu, made them work as their slaves. Their slaves. The wealth that was accumulated after winning the battles and their unequal sharing resulted in growth of social discriminations. The first three Varnas had the right over the expanding agriculture lands The Shudras were forced to work for the first three Varnas. It was told as their duty. The patriarchal family was the main social unit during Rigvedic period of social system. See, here they were also considered land as the major property. That land they were own. The last Varna in that society treat as a slaves. In this way, later part of the Rigveda, Varna system appeared. And also, according to 10th Mandala of Rigveda in the year 1000 BCE, where created Adi Purusha. God created Adi Purusha. In that Adi Purusha's mouth gave the birth for Brahmins, shoulders for Kshatriyas, and thigh for, it means womb for Vaishyas, and Shudras were born in the feet of Adi Purusha. Such kind of several discriminations and starting of the caste system reveals during the period of Rigvedic period. See, dear students, these are all the several aspects of the social system of Rigvedic period. Okay, dear students, I hope that you all listen carefully all those things. If you have any doubts, please ask to me. Okay, nice. Dear students, once again I will give you the highlights of the lesson. Today we were discussing something about Vedic page, and at that we enlightened on 4 Vedas and should learn something about Rigvedic period and their social system. So all those things learned under yesterday's class. I hope that you all understand all those things. If you all understand, I am going to ask some questions to you. Please tell me the answer. Okay, dear students, my first question is, who were the Aryans? Yes, Aryans are complied Vedas and who belongs to Indo-European tribes and who live southern part of the Russia, especially Ural mountain slopes, and moved to Iran, later and migrated to Punjab via Afghanistan. They were called as Aryans. Yes, right, dear students. And my another question is, who wrote the book History and Culture of Indian People? Yes, that book was written by vghs and published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. See, that book discusses something about Vedic culture. And later on, we know something about how many Vedas are there. There are 4 Vedas. And we know something about Samhita, Brahmana, Arya, Upanishads. And we learned something about Vedic periods and its suktas, and about mandalas, and also their geographical areas and their social system. All those things we learned under today's class. Okay, dear students, let it be stopped here now. Remaining things will be discussed on next class. Thank you.